Our next testimony comes from the El Soldado Latino Memorial.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mina Perez, and I am part of the El Soldado here, the soldier that sits right across from here staring at the Capitol. We are raising funds for our memorial so we can finish embellishing it. It was created in 1951, brought over by the Mexican mothers of the American soldiers who served. And I'm going to introduce Pedro Hernandez, who is our historian, and he can tell you a little bit more. But what I want to also let you know, you see my t-shirt, I am with the Vida de Oro Foundation, which is a nonprofit. We promote the arts to enhance our community. And the reason that we are collaborating together is because what's the first thing you learn in school when you're a youth? That's art. And art is a form of behavior and healing, and so we'd like to combine both because it's forgotten after you pass the second grade. And here you become an adult, especially as a veteran, that is much needed because it's a calming, healing activity that can really help one's mind get back to that simpler time that you picked up a package of crayons and a coloring book and you were that third grader again. That was a happy, happy moment. So we'd like to give you that kind of medicine, and I thank you again for listening to my words. And we are just one of many organizations that want to help our veterans, our families, our communities to just be happier. It's as simple as that. So thank you for listening to my voice, and here's Pedro Hernandez.
Thank you, Mina. Thank you very much. As a Vietnam veteran, I want to first begin by saying, welcome home, veterans. I would like to introduce myself the only way I know how to do it. In 1968, I was a combat air crewman on a Navy P-3. I was the aircraft's radioman. In 1968, when I asked, what plane am I going home? You can either wait for the commercial airline or you can take the plane at the end of the runway. I decided to take the plane at the end of the runway. There was 8 of us alive, 350 dead. I have never forgotten them. The El Soldado statue, which is right across the street there, represents 100 Latinos during World War II that died. The mothers have the hardest job in the world. Well, dad goes off to work on the farm, work in the factory. Mother sits at home looking at the empty room. How hard must it be for that mother? I am surprised that a lot of mothers have the strength that they have. These mothers put together that statue that was made in Italy during World War II, at the conclusion of it. That statue has 2 patches of Japanese insignias. The one on the left-hand side is of the American Japanese 442. The patch on the right is of the Hawaiian Japanese Americans. People say, well, that statue is of Mexicans. We ought to change it. I can tell you one thing. 23 Medal of Honor recipients were earned in Italy, where the statue was made. We will not change the insignias. We are inclusive, not exclusive. We take great honor in being Americans. We take greater honor in being here today. Our little facility is over here, elsoldadolatino.org. If you come by, you can pick up a brochure that'll give you more insight. As a Vietnam veteran, I came back. I hated my country. I hated war. I hated everything. I originally wanted to be a priest, but I came home violent, extremely violent. 50 years later, I have been searching and searching for help. Everywhere that I went, I could not find the answers or the solutions until now. I was so violent, a couple of professors said, "We want you to meet this guy that's nonviolent." I said, "What the shit's he gonna teach me? I like what I'm doing. I like beating up people." He's nonviolent. Oh, great. So I went to go see this nonviolent guy. He says, "I've heard about you and your violence." I go, "Yeah, I kind of enjoy it." He said, "The first thing that I noticed, he had a blue aura around him. And when he spoke, he made me feel warm and comfortable." Do you know who that was? Because shortly after that, he would ask me to be his bodyguard. He would ask me to help him with the United Farm Worker effort. That was Cesar Chavez. I became his bodyguard. I take great honor when people say, "Man, you were part of history." I go, no. I go, the difference between being part of history and making history. We were making history. I turned to art. I would stay up until 6 o'clock in the morning working just like this gentleman over here with clay. It's what saved me. Yes, and I'll be real honest with you. I attempted suicide twice so far. That's the indefinite sentence that combat veterans do. I went to stick myself with a knife. And as I proceeded to do that, something behind me said, "If you don't love you, I love you." I turned around to see who in the hell was in my room. Nobody. So I said, "Oh, it must be my mind playing with me again." So then I proceeded to accomplish what I had started. And again, a voice reached out to me. "If you don't love you, I love you." Again, I've learned a couple of things since then. I have a guardian angel. I have the ability to communicate with the dead. You may say, "You're nuts." Thank you. That's a compliment. For me, and everything that we do with El Soldado will cost us $1 million. I want you to understand, in 1968, when I came home, 40,000 American GIs, before they even put their foot on this land, were certified alcoholics. Shortly after 68, 4 years later, 1.5 million would commit suicide. Am I fortunate to be here? Yes. Am I with my family? Yes. Other veterans is what makes me continue on the course that I've been given. Yes, I wanted to be a priest, but my mother said, no, you have a different calling. As the historian for El Soldado, I know what she's talking about. Mothers are great. I just wish they'd tell us before we stepped in the hole. I want to thank you again for the opportunity. Come by. I promise not to punch you. Take care. God bless you.
I just want to also thank my sister, who was Senior Master Sergeant, Latina, yes, and she was in the Desert Storm, retired now. So that's a long ways for her to make it for being a Latina back in the 80s. And also my brother, who was a POW, Private Salvador Contreras. Thank you for coming back alive.